this is one of those recipes, just like any country cooking recipes. My grandmother's recipe is probably going to be completely different from your grandmother's recipes. So it kind of depends on what you have, growing in your garden, or location you're in, what's more predominant. Today it's a lot easier for us because we have our produce section. You can go in and get produce from all over the world down there. Traditionally, this, of course, what was regional is what they typically use for this recipe. It originated in Spain. It really became famous in Portugal, though. And a lot of times what they would use is bread, tomatoes, oil, and vinegar. Now tonight we're going to be using some balsamic vinegar for ours. Now you can change that out if you want to use a red wine vinegar, or try a sherry vinegar, or even just a white vinegar itself. Feel free to experiment, depending on what your preference is. Okay, get rid of this. First thing we're going to need, 6 small tomatoes, small to medium, I should say. Now, if you don't have a core, all you need is just take a little knife and cut that tip out there. You just want to make sure you don't want to be crunching down on that while you're eating this. And for cutting this, you want to cut it small enough, once again, as for putting into the blender. So you don't have to be too precise in it. And another thing that helps too is while you're cutting this, go ahead and pull a little bit off to the side, because once you're done, you can use it for garnishing it. And not only does it look pretty, but also helps in the texture and the flavor of it. Okay, just pour that out like so. Now, of course, the gazpacho is raw vegetables. So we're not cooking any of these. But if you really want to have fun with this recipe, use the exact same recipe and just grill out all the vegetable items on it. So it's not technically a gazpacho, but it's the same recipe, just grill out the vegetables, and it really adds a wonderful flavor to it that way. Okay. So we'll cut these up small enough to put into the blender. And I am going to keep 2 of them out for garnishing. Like so. Now the next thing we're going to be cutting up is going to be our red bell pepper. You can use any color bell pepper you so choose. For this recipe, it's more just for a color scheme, I guess you could say. But if you have, a specific preference on peppers, or you happen to have some already on hand, just go ahead and switch them out. It does not have to be a red bell pepper like this. Just got to make sure you remove the tags, though, or the labels there. But what you do want to do is devein it, as they call it. This is where that rind right there, that white part, because that is really fibrous and really sour to taste. So you want to go ahead and cut that out. Like so. just roughly chop that up. Okay, next thing we're going to be cutting up is a vidalia. Now, you don't have to use a sweet onion for this. If you prefer a white onion or red onion, that'll work just as fine with this recipe. I just think that the sweet onion helps to get a very subtle contrast to it. And so I'll go ahead and cut this up about 1/4 inch size. Okay. And that we're looking for a 1/4 cup, which is over just a little bit. Pull some of that out of there. There you go. Toss that in there. Okay. Once again, we've got another garlic clove. Smash her up. I'll be smelling garlic for days. Okay, we've got our lime juice and our tomato juice. Pour that in there. 2 cups of lime juice, or tomato juice, which if you use these little canned tomato juices, that's just 4 cans exactly. You don't have to worry about measuring, just grab 4 cans. Okay, so we got a little bit of salt. You want to coarsely chop up some parsley. Now, where I already had the flat leaf parsley, I went ahead and just use the same thing. But if you have the curly leaf, you want to use that, you know, feel free. That's not going to change any of the flavor to this dish. Okay. Now, we've got regular ground pepper, and then we also have our red pepper flakes. You can do this to taste. I've got approximately a 1/2 teaspoon of each going in this. I've had some people, they prefer to omit the black pepper altogether and put in, you know, 3/4 teaspoon of the red bell or the red pepper flakes. So you can kind of just do experiment around, you know, get the taste that you want. It's not really hot. It's not enough to, you know, really overwhelm the palate when you make this. So if you're afraid of using hot peppers and stuff, don't worry, this one is not a hot dish. But if you want to, you can cut these back even further, or even omit them if you want to. Just add just a little bit of regular table pepper and salt to it. Okay, we've got our extra virgin oil. Add that in there. Now with the balsamic vinegar, have on the recipe 2 to 3 tablespoons. I use 3 tablespoons for this. That's not enough to really overwhelm you when you taste into this. But some people, because of how strong balsamic vinegar can be, they're always a little timid of using this. If you want to cut back, you know, at first go ahead and just throw in 1/2 amount of this, and then try it. It's real simple to go ahead and add the rest in if you want to. And as with the other ones, start it off on low as you blend. Now, this one will take a little bit longer than the other ones. For one thing, you haven't cooked the tomatoes down like we have with the other stuff. Okay. Go ahead and turn on high. Give it approximately 10 to 15 seconds on this one. Just enough where it gives it a fairly smooth texture. It's not going to be completely smooth, but that's okay. This recipe's not supposed to be. All right. Oh. And as with these other two, you want to make sure and let these chill for at least 2 hours. I've tried these warm. You can actually serve these hot if you wanted to try those, especially during the winter months or the fall, cool fall day. That would be good. But for the summer months, we definitely want to stick with the cold right now. And with these, you want to make sure and chill them real good, because if they're lukewarm, it really throws the flavor off and it's unsettling almost. But once you let that chill and it really absorbs flavor in it, it's a wonderful dish doing it that way.